Straight to Dubai. We add it up and run it up in this crypto space. Straight to Dubai. Greetings, gentle ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Bitcoin Mansa with the AI Global Legends, and I hope you guys are making it a great day on purpose. Today, guys, is Thursday. We're doing a pop-up show for the Legends Show, guys. You know how we do it. You never know who we got coming on, but back on popular demand, we got Jimmy Braid here. Brady, this guy has been a superstar, and he had so much wealth of knowledge when he came on to the Legends Show last time, which was about 3 weeks ago. You know, it absolutely went bonkers. The team got super excited. They felt, his energy, and, we had to bring him back. People was hitting me up, can you bring back Jimmy? Can you bring back Jimmy? I'm like, all right, Jimmy's really busy. He's traveling around the world, coast to coast, doing what he got to do to make things happen, guys. So I was able to nail him down today. So we got him back today. And he also brought one of his guests as well. Her name is Michael. And Michael, hello there. Thanks for showing up here. And really appreciate everybody. This thing is really exciting what we got our hands on. The thing is that we're in a blockchain space that's really, really innovative. And a lot of people see the vision here, what we have our hands on. This is something that is real, something that 99% of the people that you bring this to, they automatically know how to put two and two together and understand the backdrop of this project. People understand commodities. People understand fuel, gas, gold, silver. They understand this. They can put a visual on this, and this is what makes it so unique, because now you can take that visual and actually put it to a synthetic commodity, guys. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what we got our hands on. Hopefully we'll get some insider information in regards to what projects is coming up next. And a lot of different things that I can't wait to hear from Mr. Jim Brady himself. Jim Brady, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's a good evening out here. We're taking off tomorrow, and I've got a lot of packing to do. I can't throw it off onto my fiance again.
Right. Where are you headed, Jim?
We're just headed to the Caribbean this time.
Okay. Okay. Are you going to fly there?
We'll just fly out to Florida, and then we'll head out from there.
Okay, sweet. So, well, you guys know, we called Jimmy the dead box Clark Kent, guys. Big guy, got a heart of gold, and loves to help people. And so, what really got me attracted to this guy is because he was telling us all the ins and outs, some information that people wasn't talking about. And Jimmy had that information. So when we got to talking, we kind of built a relationship. And since our last show, we've even built a bigger bond. So, a lot of stuff is going on. I know before we launched this, we was talking about BEV and BLOX, right? And so I went really heavy on BEV, like after our last conversation. I think I put like 40, I think I got like 40 BEVs right now under my belt. So I was trying to catch you with the 100, and you probably surpassed 100 by now, right? You probably had 200 or something like that.
No comment.
So let me ask you this. What do you think about BEV now since, the launch and we shot to $1? I mean, 100,000 plus X. What's your feedback on that?
It's growing rapidly. I don't know what's been shared or communicated with if you've been paying attention, but we acquired a second distribution site. If you're familiar, we now have one on the East Coast and on the West Coast. So it's quickly growing. The project itself is only currently at 10% capacity with what we have in place with the current infrastructure. We're doing some minor alterations to bring it up to 100% capacity, which obviously is going to mean a lot more contracts. I'm very confident in the project and its development and the leadership of Ryan Bowen behind it. It's going to do very well, and it's going to far exceed what people are even currently thinking.
Now, why don't you give us, we got some new people on tonight. Why don't you give them a little bit of backdrop about BEV, what you understand of it, why it's so valuable to the community?
The key aspect of BEV, it's more than the project itself. It's the structure of the tokenomics, which is the economic constraints built into the smart contract. Instead of doing an annual halving where 50% of the token is eliminated, every 3 months we eliminate 25%. Now that essentially implies that you're eliminating double the amount over the course of a single year. Now, since you're doing it in smaller increments, it has less of an immediate impact on the market, and it allows the project to not experience such a dramatic drop like you'd see in a Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years, which can be very difficult for a lot of people. Because the upfront experience, by the way, this is something everybody needs to be aware of. The upfront experience of a halving, if you're a miner and you're using that as a passive income, you're like, well, this sucks because I'm at half right now. I'm like, yeah, but if you're doing the smart thing and you're not just living off of it as an income, but you're holding it, everybody else is selling. And that means it's burning. That means it's disappearing. There's sell pressure. And if there's sell pressure at the beginning of an ecosystem or at a halving, you're going to end up with more power and more capability if you hold, because most people don't hold. Basically, what I'm saying is this project has more opportunity long-term for people to benefit geometrically if they hold the token over time. You're looking at 2 years essentially of project development equating to 4 years of what you'd see with black gold or natural gas. So, and those projects themselves are at a very interesting point right now, but we can talk more about that later.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've been getting a lot of questions, people's messaging me now saying, right now they want to know, okay, I'm getting, 15,000 coins with, say, blocks, and here I'm only getting like 11.
Why?
Can you explain a little bit about that? Yeah, why?
Yeah. This is something that people initially, they're like, well, why is it like this and why is it like this? And really, it's arbitrary. It gives you a different valuation in your mind. But if you look at both licenses, they're backed by roughly the same value right now in terms of performance. And the token structure, like I said, it's arbitrary. Okay. It's a decimal system. What you ultimately have to pay attention to is the destruction rate of the token and the amount of value coming into it in terms of royalties over time, because those are the things that are going to ultimately impact what you have long term and even short term for cash flow.
Right. I see. Hope that makes sense to you guys. And the same thing happened with DebtBox, right? I mean, because they wasn't essentially giving out thousands of debt tokens, so it has the same kind of potential, essentially,
it'll be valued a lot higher over time for certain. And I guess maybe I should talk in a more, I apologize, sometimes I take things too technical, but really you're just going to get a token that's worth a lot more because there's a lot less of it. Whereas with blocks, it's going to be worth less, but there's also going to be a lot more of it.
Right.
So it balances out.
Right, guys. So I hope you guys understand that. That's why, I went pretty heavy on the BEV myself, because I know in the future it's a long term, but in the future, you could probably see that that $40 coin. You know what I mean? So if it already hit $1 and it's not even public all the way yet, just imagine what it could do. Now, a lot of people say, hey, when the rentals come out, Jimmy said that the price is going to dip. Does that devalue the project because it's going to dip? I mean, I think that's healthy. What's your point on that?
This is actually really good. I've had 2 individuals speak to me recently about conversations they had with either one of the Anderson brothers. And it's good and it's bad. And you're like, good and bad. Okay, let me talk. Depends on your viewpoint. Okay. The rental program does several things. One, it provides more people with access to the coin. It provides, for another thing, an opportunity for someone that doesn't have the financial means to purchase a license, the opportunity to experiment with something new. And number 3, and this is the most important one to the smart investor, those people that are buying these rentals, they're not holding their token. They're selling it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, and if they're selling it, you have more sellers than buyers, the price tanks.
Right.
True. But if you have more sellers than buyers, you also are destroying more coin. And this brings in something interesting with BEV. Unlike black gold, I don't know if you're aware of this, but black gold, for instance, only 2% of every transaction is net burned. A total of 10% is taken, but 4% goes to the EGI pool and 4% goes to liquidity pool. 2% gets burned. That's a much slower burn rate than 10% with every transaction. What that means is all these renters are selling and destroying so much token that I can tell you right now, people are focusing on the halvings, but the daily volume movement is going to kill more token than anything else via rentals, which means if you're a holder and you're not focused on that, in a year's time, you may see low prices up front, but it has to catch up to the royalties because people run out of token. And when they run out of token, those prices skyrocket. And you're about to see this prove out with black gold. Right now, the legacy black gold from the first year of mining is quickly depleting. And that's holding the price down because there's a lot of legacy black gold, as we call it, from the first year being held, but it's being sold off rapidly. And we're still bringing in about, I think we brought in 7.2 million with the last burn total. I'd have to go back and relook at the numbers, but we're only producing 1 million pieces of that token now per month for all the licenses. And if you've got 7 million, or let's say even 3 million, something eventually has to give where people run out of their ability to spend. And that skyrockets in value. And the same will be true of every single one of these projects. So if you can be patient, trust the process, you're going to be sitting in a very good place compared to your peers that are thinking, oh, I should sell because, you know, this isn't going to work out. But I sit there and I scratch my head. I'm like, it's not going to work out, but yet it mines more efficiently than any Ethereum miner, than any Bitcoin miner I've ever seen. And I have not seen any project out there that comes remotely close to what we're doing or that's lasted this long or grown at this rate. I'm like, if you can find anything else out there like that, please tell me so I can start putting my 6 figures a month into something else. Like, please, I'd happily reinvest it elsewhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, welcome everybody for joining us. You are live on the Legends Show. We got Jim Brady here and yourself, yours truly, Bitcoin Mansa. Guys, I'm super excited to be here. And if you guys are just tuning in, we're just kind of giving a kind of like a conversation, a discussion with Jim Brady and some of the backdrop of what's going on with DebtBox and the new projects that's being launched. And if you guys have any questions that you may want to ask him since we're hanging out, put 777 in the chat and we'll bring you on stage. If you have your camera on, we'll bring you on, okay? So 777 in the chat, and then we'll allow you to come on the panel. Great. So, Michael, how you doing today? Where are you from? And you know, are you from Salt Lake City as well?
Yep, I'm from the same area that Jimmy is from.
Okay. And what's your expertise in the field right now? So, what have you been doing in the space?
Well, I would like to say I'm a tadpole in the space and compared to the ocean that I have right here. But I started investing in DebtBox about a year ago.
Okay.
I'm young, so I'm 22, graduated college, and I didn't have a ton of money. I didn't have a lot of investments. I didn't come from a background family-wise that was in investing, and I met this gentleman here, and that's changed my life. I got the privilege of working in the DebtBox office itself, not directly with DebtBox, but I did see a lot of what was going on internally. Okay. And it prompted things.
Nice. So from your experience, what can you give our listeners here to any advice or anything that's exciting that you could share with us?
Yeah. So from my time, I would say being in the debt office, it's encouraging when you're around a group of people that work as hard as they do. The engineers themselves are phenomenal at what they do. They're great and they're prideful, obviously, in what they've accomplished, but they're also ran by a gentleman named Corey that is phenomenal in of himself. And he has ran this beautifully, and you've all seen it with the DebtBox itself, and it's just up from here. That's all I have to say on the DebtBox side. Nice.
So what projects did you get in first?
So the first project that I personally got in on was actually Grow. I came in right at the end of debt.
I love Grow.
And I still kick myself every day that I came in on the very end. There was one debt left when I came in, it was snatched.
Oh, wow. So you missed the debt, but you got the grow.
Yeah, and I've been involved in every project since.
Oh, there you go. So you're not letting nothing slide, huh?
Oh.
I know that's right. Yeah, I was able to catch that wave from like 43 all the way to like $1.07 on grow. Was it grow? Yeah, I think it was grow. Yeah, it was huge, huge. One of my buddies called me. Actually, he's probably on the call right here. Alvin, shout out to Alvin. What's going on? Listen, this project, Grow, I think it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of use case there, so I'm pretty bully on that one as well. So guys, let me see. We got a question here for you from Dan T. Any sneak peek info on any new projects that will be launched in the near future?
I have to be careful, and I'll admit knowledge is limited right now. I can only say what has formally been leaked, and that is the swipe stuff that you guys are somewhat familiar with already. But to re-illustrate for our audience, we're looking at March 15th as the anticipation. Swipe is going to essentially be backed by a portion of the exchange fee, or rather the payment fee associated with the debit cards we're going to be providing via MasterCard, which formally launched for everybody around the beginning of March. And that's going to have several different options. If you guys have watched some of the videos, those have been illustrated and what they're looking at. If you haven't seen that, we're looking at, I believe, the first limits around 5K, 10K, 15K, and then I believe the final version is much, much higher, but I'm not looking myself to buy a solid gold one like Jason and Jake and pay the 50 that I think Jake paid and the 75K that Jason did for his customization. I don't know what the transaction limit is on that card, to be honest with you. I don't think it has a point, but in terms of limits, I think it's unlimited. But we're looking good at this because, as I understand it, there's a lot of things going on over at your ecosystem side of things with IX that are going to be very beneficial to you related to this. And there's going to be some changes coming up that are going to be beneficial regarding how licenses are purchased. That's going to help the ecosystem a lot and relieve, honestly, some of the selling pressure up front. If I understand this correctly, and I might be incorrect in this, but something for your reference is that I believe that we're going to, moving forward in the near future, have the licenses paid for in debt token rather than in Tether. And just so you're aware, that's one of the things that puts a lot of sell pressure on the tokens is when we're all trying to buy licenses on the IX side, we have to transition out of our tokens if we're reusing them to roll back in. And when you do that, you're creating sell pressure. And if you're creating sell pressure, obviously the prices are going to go down with your reinvestment. Whereas if you do that on the debt box side, you're going to see no change in the price or just a marginal one, depending on how you transact the tokens. And that's going to be related to the upcoming swipe as well. I would anticipate that this is going to be a good project to get into. Up front, it is going to be a smaller initiative because you're dealing with our ecosystem running off of these rails, but we're growing exponentially. I don't know our current acquisition rate, but last I checked, it was over 4,000 individuals roughly a week joining the debt box.
Whoa.
Definitely a decent amount of people deciding that we're cool. Yeah. And using our stuff. And I'll tell you right now, of the roughly 350,000 wallets last I checked, and this is outdated information from over a month ago, we were looking at the analytics and it's at least one license on average per wallet. So that's cool. And all of that's going to impact swipe because you're going to be able to transact on that card. And a good thing to think about too, that I've considered for myself in my own analysis is I'm like, okay, this is going to put sell pressure because people are going to have easier access to sell their crypto. However, simultaneously, their ability to sell crypto is going to increase the valuation of the token in swipe.
Right.
So just something to think about.
So for those that's listening and new to wondering what is swipe, so swipe is going to be a new project that's coming out here, like you said, in March. Also, this is going to be backed by the Royal Bank of Scotland, correct?
The way you want to look at backed, we have to be careful with that word choice, as we kind of found out with the unfortunate events with Fleet, is The Royal Bank of Scotland, as I believe it to be, and I may be incorrect, and I'm just trying to be more careful with some of this wording so we don't want to run into issues, but they are the ones that are hosting essentially the banking side for our transactions with MasterCard. But it's our opportunity to raise the average fee of the basic rails above the baseline base points, which is roughly 1.99% in merchant processing. We can raise that higher, and most people do, usually around 2.5 to upwards 4%. And then we take that percentage and that becomes the royalty. So I would say it's backed by the Royal Bank of Scotland as much as I would say the Royal Bank of Scotland is a partner on the project. And I would say MasterCard is a partner on the project.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Just to illustrate that more carefully.
Yeah, guys, we want to basically have some great wordplay here, right? You don't want to be out of pocket and out of compliance, right?
Yep.
So, with that being said, you mentioned fleet. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, how does fleet actually, you know, participate then? Is it partnered with Deadbox or what is the deal?
Yeah. So have you not seen the announcement?
No. Well, yes. The latest announcement to where you got to take down anything having fleet, any kind of marketing with fleet on it. That's the announcement you're referring to?
No.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be not good.
Uh-oh.
It was announced yesterday because of everything that happened with misinformation. This is why the Explore token is tanked over the last 2 days. Fleet canceled the partnership.
Oh. Yeah, we didn't get that information.
No. That is something Jason posted on. And this is something, while your audience is here, it needs to be illustrated. As a businessman myself, and I've ran several businesses. When you have a business partnership, there are legal contracts and you have to be very careful because, especially with Fleet's a multi-billion-dollar company that's publicly listed. Anything that is said about Fleet impacts the valuation of Fleet. There was a lot of misinformation being presented. Let me give you an illustration here. Fleet was partnered with the resonance frequency, RFEG, I believe is the acronym. And RFEG is essentially utilizing and partnered with the debt ecosystem with the Explore tech. That's how it was working.
Okay.
And that's how the relationship between us and Fleet worked. What people were saying were things like Explore owns Fleet, or Fleet is paying royalties to Explore. And that caused an impact on their valuation. And if you're publicly traded and your stock goes down, your ability to get lending, credit, everything is massively affected. And even though we have such an impressive technology, it ended up being a non-viable relationship due to the implications of mass media and mass misinformation that was going out. It is extraordinarily unfortunate. And I know moving forward, we're going to have to, essentially the debt box is going to have to tighten down legally on a lot of information that goes out, and so is IX. That's why everything had to be taken down. Because initially the commentary you had was about the takedown request, and that was formal legal request by Fleet because it was causing such a negative impact. But it still led to an ultimate destruction of that relationship. So it's really sad because that was really good. I will say though, our team doesn't miss a beat. Jason was very upset about it because it took him a year to put that together. And a lot of things that you guys hear about, he spends years building. Everything you've seen in this that has built a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem is this gentleman and his associates' life's work. It isn't what you've seen in a year. It's 15, 20 years of effort. So, but I will say there is a light at the end of the tunnel here. These guys are not unfamiliar with adversity.
Okay.
And because of that, they've already got things in the works to get us another solution, and they're looking to have that pinned down within the next 2 weeks. That's how quick these guys are working. And because of the renown and the traction that Explorer has been gaining in the market, it's making it a lot easier for it to work with other opportunities. But at the same time, this has taught us an unfortunate lesson where we're going to have to be far more careful in what we divulge so as to limit harm to our partners. Because ultimately, Jason's thing that he has to think about, and the debt council's thing, is what's going to benefit the ecosystem long-term, what's going to benefit you, the license holder, and what's going to benefit the industrial partner. Those are the three things he thinks about. And he is willing to take flack and negativity from people to not give them all the information they want. And this is the unfortunate lesson they've learned, that you can't make everyone happy in order to make sure the ecosystem flourishes long-term. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
And I would just say with that, when you're talking about things, you can be authentic, you can be real. We have this partnership. Fleet publicly listed it. It was on their thing. They had given us permission to talk about it. And it just got misconstrued so much by people because they weren't getting the right information. And through just unfortunate ignorance, things were being shared and miscommunicated. I would largely attribute that to language barriers, to a lot of our other countries that don't speak English as a first language.
Right.
And it just led to some unfortunate results.
It'd be like that sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to do a better job of communication. Communication is key.
It is. And I would still be very hyper about everything and very excited. I'm not in the slightest bit worried about the overall end result of Explore and the technology, because I understand it as a physicist, and there is nothing out there that does the type of algorithmic analysis even remotely close to what we're doing. And I say we, but I can't take any credit. This isn't mine. This is Shad Brennan's company's work, and everything they've done. This is the debt box. This is what they've done. I am just a participant and a grateful one, to say the least. Yes, because you don't see something like this. This is literally changing the world, what we're doing. It makes me think about ChatGPT. If you guys have not been playing with that ecosystem and that AI, it will augment everything you're doing drastically.
Yes, it will.
So
my son is loving that one right there. He's probably on the call too. He's loving that ChatGPT. Okay, so we got a question here. How many grow licenses are left?
On the debt box side, 0.
0.
You can't buy them from us anymore. I don't know the exact count that's on your side. I believe it is less than 100.
Ooh. So guys, if you're lacking in your grow area, get to getting them grow.
You don't have one at least, or 10, I would get some.
Definitely grab some of those grows. It's not too expensive neither.
No, isn't it only 2,600 right now on the IX side?
Yeah, 25.
I would grab those for sure.
Let's see, we've got another question here. When will people be able to swap and sell their BEV and BLOX tokens? Currently, we're not able to do that yet. I'm not selling my tokens, just inquiring.
I don't care what you do with your tokens. If you want to sell them, sell away. I'll benefit from your sell in the future. But honestly, it's when we list it. Because the reality is it has to be paired with something in order to swap it. And it's not currently paired with anything. The valuation that you're getting, though, is accurate based off of an algorithmic analysis of the impending royalties, the current generated token, and the sell pressure on the licenses. And therefore, you can currently exchange a token to purchase additional licenses. That's an option. And they are cross.
Say that part again, that last part. You can do what?
You can use the token to buy licenses. On the debt box side, you can use blocks to buy blocks or BEV, and you can use BEV to buy either one as well.
Nice. Okay.
So that is allowed. That is a real valuation of the coin, but that doesn't take into consideration the sell and buy pressures that are going to come out when it hits the exchange. If it performs anything like ALUM and Explorer, you saw those when they first got listed. You had some fluctuation, but then they started to climb dramatically for a while there until we started doing the rentals, and those even climbed for a while until people started cashing out the rentals. So that's something you can think about psychologically as a more experienced or seasoned investor. And I say investor here tongue in cheek because we're all participants in the ecosystem.
Right.
And you can think about that, though. How am I going to game the system? Because everybody's thinking it already.
Yeah.
And it's all about metagaming a little bit there if you're a short-term person. Now,
Right.
the question he asked, when? The limit is 90 days. Okay, meaning April. Beginning of April is the limit. Does that mean we could be listed sooner? Yes. How soon? Well, let's look at when they listed ALUM and how many licenses sold, and explore. It was around 40 days. How many licenses have we sold comparatively? That's something for you to kind of look at. I will say that they did learn one lesson from ALUM and Explore, and that was that we didn't have enough liquidity. And it allowed some experienced traders to do some price manipulation up front when it got out there. And when I say experienced, I mean literally professional traders. These are really, really smart men and women that know the stock market and know the process of trading in a way that most people don't understand. But they were able to play with things.
Right.
So I would say there's a really good chance it's not going to be April 1st with how many licenses we've sold. You're looking at over 100 of each right now.
Okay.
That is almost sold out. There's less than 40K of those left.
110,000 sold already. And it's 150,000 it's available, correct?
Yeah. And what's unbelievable about that is you guys are paying you're paying 2K on your side. People are paying 2.5 on our side for those.
Right.
And they're still being bought up, of course. And people buy them all the way up until they're the high price on our end as well.
Wow. So when this thing turns into an NFT, woo. So here's a question. Someone's asking me, what do they do with the other 300,000 licenses? Do they kind of give some type of promo, or do they keep them for just the in-house?
Those are just treasury. That is for the utilization and growth of the entire ecosystem. The licenses and everything is equally backed by the whole ecosystem, the profitability, the value, all of that. And the tokens generated from the treasury explicitly are used for growth and projects only. Therefore, that's at the discretion of the debt council, and all of that can be essentially tracked on the blockchain if you know how to look at those things, so you can see where things are going. Like the treasury wallet, and you can see that everything is transparent. We reveal that. Why do I say that? Because a lot of people are like, well, what if this is a rug pull? What if they're going to do X, Y, Z? And I was like, well, look at historical performance. Look at how they've behaved, and look at the way the ecosystem's structured. For one, a lot of the questions people ask, they show ignorance in the question process. People are scared because 97% of crypto projects are fraudulent. And there's a good reason people have negativity. However, it's ill-founded if you take a mathematical and economic analysis of the structure of a smart contract. There are a lot of variables that have been taken into consideration because these individuals have been in crypto. For instance, the 10% eliminates round robin trading that pumps the price. The mining process prevents the rug pull methodology. The fact that you're able to get your tokens out of the ecosystem within like 90 days means it's not a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
Because Ponzi's lock up your money and take it.
Right.
So all those arguments are null. And I bring that up only because I get asked these questions a lot, and so does everybody within the debt box, like all the time, because that's the fear of everybody in crypto. Is it a scheme? Is it someone going to steal my money?
Right.
And no, it's not. This is legitimate, and you should get behind it because you'll regret it if you don't, because it's pretty neat what we're doing.
Pretty cool, pretty neat, guys. Amazing. So one thing I like to add is, you control the keys, you control the treasure, so here with the debt box, you control the keys. So you guys could store your keys, put them away safe, get your two-factor authentication, connect your securities, lock down your wallets, guys. That's very important. That's the difference between a centralized outfit and a decentralized system. So what we have here is fully decentralized, and I think that being backed by commodities, real commodities out there, and having a decentralized aspect to it where you control it, it gives people a lot of hope, and they feel warm and fuzzy inside. All right, we got so many hands up. Let's see here. We got some questions. All right. Let's bring my guy Steve Nike into the panel. What's going on, Steve? How are you today, sir? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Loud
Yeah.
and clear. How you doing, Steve?
Awesome. I'm doing excellent. You know, it's always a pleasure to be here with you and the Legend Show. And James, we appreciate your time and all of your insight. And it's real, like, valuable insight, right? It's stuff that you can't get from anywhere else. So having you here and your time is so appreciated. And I wanted to say that first and foremost, and Mansa for always putting it together. The question I had was, I saw that, you know, in our wallets, we got a message, and most people probably didn't think anything of it, that there was rentals available, but was from the debt box, right? Because we at IX Global were the only ones who had the rentals previously, right? So what does that mean as far as for debt box and the difference there? And is it a greater retail than what we have here at IX Global?
Correct. It is a greater retail. 300. Same cycle times that you guys get. The price is $50 higher. So in most instances, people are break even or sub break even on their rentals. And here's a fun thing that I didn't mention about the rentals, and I'm glad you brought this up because it brought it to my attention. The vast majority of the rental fee, if not, I don't think it's all of it. I think it's about 60%, because there's a portion that goes to IX, is burned. All that's paid is just destroys that token.
Wow.
So that's something to think about.
Wow. Now, I also noticed that the day that Debtbox went live with the rentals, that the Grow rentals sold out like immediately that day. Like that had impact. So like that means something, right? You guys, like that, like he's just been talking about the Grow right here. And I just wanted to add that, you know?
Yeah. 50,000 sold.
They're going to disappear. Rentals, Grow is running its course too. Those rentals are about to go offline. And that's going to be the same with every project. As you get closer to that, maybe this isn't verbatim, but as you get closer to that second halving, you can anticipate that those rentals are reaching their end.
So that's why it's important to buy the licenses. You know,
that's my opinion. Buy a license, have an asset. Don't lease something. Own it.
Yeah. Because, you know, you might rent it for 60 days and come back after 60 days and they're gone. So you can't even get that anymore. And you can't even buy it anymore. So do yourself a favor and try, you know, to at least purchase a license. And it's perpetual, so it can keep going for 10 plus years. All right. Did you have any other questions, Steve? Appreciate that. Great questions, by the way, man. Super cool. All right. Let's see. Who else? Anyone else want to ask my friend Jim Brady any questions? You know, we got about 15 minutes left. Let's see here. Anybody 777 in the chat, or go ahead and raise your hand. And let's see what we can answer your question. And again, welcome everybody to the Legend Show. Really appreciate you guys showing up to grow up, to get this hot information. This is really exciting, you know. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Man, you know, I've never been a part of a project that's backed by fuel, you know, like a crypto project that's backed by fuel." He just couldn't fathom that fuel was actually, you know, a commodity backing this project, man. He just was like, just flabbergasted with it, you know. And I was thinking that, you know, like you mentioned last time in the show that it's going to take off slowly, right?
Yeah.
And so one of my guys was saying that it's a lot of royalties coming in to the Black Gold and NATG right now. So I'm excited about that.
And something to think about too is I can tell you none of the royalties that came in, if you're familiar with Black Gold, none of it was from previous license purchases. All of it was 100% burn from royalties. So that gives you an idea of where a few of these things are at. And we've got 40 more wells under final review right now and 100 under additional review. So over 40 have made it to those qualifications to move to that final step. And I don't know what the total numbers are at because that's outdated even for me. Like this stuff is changing now to a point that's so rapid that things change on the daily. And it's insane what we're doing with what we're looking at and with the growth. I just don't think people understand. And I just hope enough people catch the idea before this is so mainstream that they're going to miss out because things are going to start being priced higher because it's supply and demand. That's my assumption, by the way. It's like,
Right.
if you can sell it for more, you're going to sell it for more because you can also use it to power the ecosystem.
Right.
Something to think about. But
Absolutely. All right. So we got Malik Amir. You got a question for us. Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead and unmute yourself. How you doing today, Malik?
Yeah, I'm doing phenomenal. I appreciate this show. I mean, this guy, he always gives a wealth of knowledge, and I'm just happy to absorb it and be here live, you guys. And my question for today was about blocks, because I'm a big blocks fan. I mean, to me, it's like mind blowing to have a token that's actually connected to real estate. That's huge. And also, when it came out, it was at like a fraction of a penny. I can't remember exactly what the price was, but like 4 or 5 zeros and a 1. And now it still has like 2 zeros and a 2, right? So just me with my mind and the way that I think, you know, earning 4,500 tokens, you know, approximately a day, and actually having it still at a fraction of a penny. I just wanted to ask Mr. Brady, in your opinion, do you see this thing having potential to kind of do what Black Gold did? Because that's what I see, but I might be wrong.
yeah, that's the short answer. You're looking at real estate, right?
Yeah.
What has made some of the most powerful and wealthy people like ever? You're looking at real estate. It's one of the largest markets, and there's always only a limited supply that people are competing over. So just consider that, and that this takes advantage of the lending process, which is absolutely necessary to be able to acquire that real estate and to build it out into something profitable. It's leverage, right? And then the final thing to think about is that it's going to be doing so much more as we build on pieces of the blockchain, eliminating a lot of unnecessary clutter. That the blockchain is beautiful because it makes that what we currently deem necessary unnecessary. The titling process and the due diligence process of the home and its history, where it's all going to be recorded and unchangeable. Yeah.
You're muted if you're saying something, Malik. There you go.
Well, yeah, I was saying thank you for that answer. And man, I could see that. I guess I was right. You know, this thing does have the potential to do what Black Gold did. So I appreciate that.
I'd say it's one of our 5. I've been told by other people that are very deep into this, very intelligent people, they consider it to be one of the 5 biggest projects of all time for the ecosystem. And I don't think they're wrong in that analysis.
Absolutely. Blocks license. So we got 111,000 block licenses sold already. Someone in the chat is asking how many blocks licenses are available.
Double the amount of BEV. So BEV at 150, Blocks has 300 available for public purchase. The last licenses will sell out at over 50K a piece.
Wow. All right, let's see here. We got another question from Jay Johnson. Let's see where you at. Let's add you to the. You have your camera on, Jay? I can't find. Oh, there you go. All right, Jay. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Jay. How you doing, Jay Johnson? How about now? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. There you go. How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing good. Thank you, brother. I'm so happy to be on the Legend Show, man. I'm loving this information.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your time too, Jim. Thank you. So my question is this. You said that BLOX was one of the top 5 projects. What's the other 4?
Good question. It's a good follow-up. That's rough. I would say that obviously Black Gold is one of them. Okay. I actually think that natural gas is one of them. Okay. Natural gas is currently very undervalued for what we're producing for it. And as those royalties come in closer to the second burn, a lot more of them, you're going to see things drastically change on what you're looking at right now. But more on that another time. Debt itself, those licenses and the debt tokens, I would say places you the 4th one. And then I may have some controversy on the 5th one, But I do believe that for the foreseeable future, I don't see anything really competing with the ultimate value of Explore. Even with us renting satellites again from Google, you're still dealing with something that massively reduces the cost of exploration and recovery of rare earth elements and resources that are necessary for the growth and stability of human industry and for the well-being of mankind. So it's a kind of an important thing.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
I'd say your top 5.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Great question. All right, let's see here. All right, so we got another question here. Is this a question? If they got a real estate project, maybe down the road they may be bringing an insurance license project down the pike. Future, maybe.
I haven't seen anything on that. That is not to say that it's not there. I've only seen listings for this year on projects. And I will bluntly tell you, I was looking at a whiteboard the other day that I explicitly said to an individual, like, I want to take a closer look at what's on in his office, but I didn't want to go in there because I didn't want to get beat. But the individual bluntly told me, he's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Everything on that board is completely thrown off already. We've changed it all up. I'm like, great. We do that a lot. That's one of the reasons we don't illustrate a lot of roadmaps. And it's not that we don't have 10 different possible plans in play, because we do. And the way these people work is they're thinking that way. It's just we have to adapt to a changing market and a changing world as we're learning. Again, I'm going to bring back ChatGPT that can literally change overnight. Yes. And I would say also with an instance, how things change overnight. Look at the attempted release that Google did of a new AI, the Bard one. That's all over you being memed about right now. And the illustration here is that you just have to adapt. But we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline, a lot of stuff. We've got at least the next 2 years planned out, according to what I've been told. So, and yeah, I saw more than 10 projects on the board. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it was word going around that every 60 days they're going to be releasing a new project.
That's correct. 2
new projects every
2 new projects every 60 days.
Wow.
That's an insane amount. But they're growing at that rate. If you look at the license sales that we've done, that have helped grow the ecosystem for all of us, we can all collectively say that we're a part of an ecosystem that generated, by license pricing alone, from the debt box pricing side, you're looking at over 300 million in 2 weeks. So, you know, I know we could do better, and we will, but it's a good start for the year.
Yeah, we still look ground floor opportunity here.
Yeah.
So I got a question. Someone's asking, okay, so basically you see what happened with the relationship with Fleet. What would stop that from happening with, say, the wells and the different projects that we have right now? What would hinder that? Or is that possible? Can that still happen with the other projects?
That's a tough question. And I'm no expert, so I will sit here and I will speak candidly as to the best of my ability. What I will say is we have seen issues prior to this. We had an issue with a previous partnership called Western Oil, where we experienced something similar to what happened with Fleet. So this is the second time we've had this unfortunate event. With what we're doing, honestly, we're tightening things down, letting our legal team take a lot more control. And they're going to be dictating a lot more of what goes on to protect our partners. So I hate to say this, but you've got the lawyers in it now to protect them, which means a lot stricter regulation on content creation. And unfortunately, being blunt, definitive consequences for violation to anyone, whether you're on IX side, you're a debt box member, right? We're all debt box, or you're on the other side that you just buy direct. It doesn't matter. If you're in violation, it can have severe ramifications for you if you've been spreading misinformation. So just take that into account. And these are going to be some of the unfortunate preventative measures. The other things are to obviously protect information and divulging the names of these partners. Sometimes we're just going to not do it altogether. even if it's a big deal and they've given us approval, I think that you're going to see a lot more playing it close to the chest to protect the ecosystem and not satiate people's curiosity, unfortunately.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I would like that because, you know, ultimately it's about protecting and 9 times out of 10 people get information and just get to post it and what's their attorney's name and what's the home office address and phone number, and you know, you got all this stuff happening, right? And they calling up the lawyers, are you guys this, are you guys that? You know, we just cut all that out, you know, just be professional.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, you know, just that'd be cool. Guys, got 4 more minutes to go. Any more questions for Jim? Any more questions before we let him go? You know, we respect his time. Any more questions out there? And guys, if you guys are getting some value right now from Jim, put 777 in the chat. Let's see it. 777 in the chat if you guys are getting any value. I expect this thing to be lit right now. Look at that. Look at that, Jim. Everybody's excited. Boom, boom, boom. Value over value over value. Guys, that's why we bring him here, because he drops those bars for us. All right. So really appreciate that. Everybody said yes, 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 yes. I'm going to put my 777 in there as well. So far, guys, you know, I'm all in with this project. You know, I'm trying to get as much as I possibly can in the blocks and also Explorer right now, why Explorer is low, you know. So do you recommend purchasing the coins? I know this is not any financial advice or anything like that, guys, but you know, while the coins is dipping, you need to be tripping, right? So what do you think about that? I know you probably snatching up some of those coins, especially under a penny. Oh my gosh. I seen it drop to like 0.0083 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good buy right now. I went in heavy myself personally. I seen that. I said, all right, I'm timing it. You know, so but I like the measures that's taking place. And you don't got to answer that, okay?
No, you're good.
Oh, we good, man. So
no, I definitely think it's a good idea to buy the dip. That's very classic smart investor advice, is buy when things are low, because that's when people are selling. Don't buy when things are high. So
absolutely. Is there anything you want to add, you know, before you leave? Any information you want to share with us, you know, that you feel comfortable with? I know you got something that you can share with us for next call.
Oh, I don't know about that. I would say that you need to keep your eyes on anything you saw from Barcelona that they released, because those are projects that are coming, and you need to think to yourself, what are the implications? What is there hidden in here that I'm not seeing? Because there's some interesting references there that if you're paying close attention, it could, just because it's named a certain thing doesn't mean it's just that thing. So read between the lines is what I'm going to say a little bit, and think about another thing. Everything we do, we intentionally do so that the projects are interrelated, so that they benefit from each other and reinforce the ecosystem and gain more ability to grow and prosper. So think about, for instance, if we launch a lithium coin, that would obviously be Explore related. That's also going to be potentially technology related, because lithium is related to lithium ion batteries, the primary support for electric cars, and many components in modern day technology. That's just something to think about. What could that mean? That's all I will say.
Boom.
Sorry. I'm not going to give it up. I don't want to give it up.
Hey, you know what? It's got to tread lightly in these waters nowadays, you know. So I appreciate you, really appreciate you, Jim. Guys, unmute yourself, show some love for Michael and Jim, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate this, man. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody should be able to unmute now.
Much appreciated, James.
Yeah.
We always appreciate you having, especially our second time so soon.
Massive value. We appreciate you, brother.
My goosies have goosies, Jim.
My goose.
You know about goosies?
Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, brother. God bless
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Mansa,
you.
we appreciate you, Mansa.
Hey, we appreciate
Yeah.
you all. We
The
love you
legend
all.
show. The legend show.
Right.
Legends.
Yes, sir.
Can't get this value nowhere else.
No,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So,
You got to be an all the way in global legend.
All right, my friends, family.
I gotta
Thanks
get
so
that.
much, Jim.
I gotta get that block
Peace and
license.
blessings, guys. We're gonna
Yeah,
see you guys
blocks.
at the top because you already know the bottom is way too crowded.
We got the top
Guys,
5.
This was an amazing turnout. Appreciate all you guys that showed up to grow up, and stay tuned for the next Legend Show. All right.
Peace and blessings.
Some blessings.
Ahead of the trend. The whole team gonna win.